Okay, welcome back to My Hero Academia Anime Review, episode number 139. Yeah, I should have done this 3 days ago, but I had no time the last few days. But I basically watched this on the way home from work. Yep, that's simple what happened with that. So, in this very episode, we have basically an adaptation of these following chapters. And I kid you not, this is what we got here. We have in chapter 267 almost the entire chapter, except for one page. That page is 1 through 18 and page 20. 168 is the only chapter you adapt from beginning to end. 169, it's pages 1 through 14 and 17. And chapter 270, the first 18 out of 19 pages. And you might be asking, Nick, do they actually wrap up these chapters for next episode? Yes. Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, basically, it's the first thing they adapt. So, yeah. And by the way, this is not the first season they did this, because the way they were doing it for a long time is they adapt a full chapter, usually about 2 chapters an episode. They actually have been changing this around since they actually started this with the previous season of the show, where they don't fully adapt a full chapter, where they adapt most of a chapter and then save what was left of it probably for next episode. They probably borrow this from One Piece, because One Piece has been doing it for years. So, in this very episode, we start out basically with, get this, we see Fat Gum doing his Fat Taxi, where he has Mushroom Girl. It was Mushroom Girl, Tokiyama. There's actually 4 heroes in him, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, and Kaminari. They also have They also have Mudman from Class 1B, and they had the Mushroom Shimig, aka Mushroom Girl. They had roughly 2 members of Class 1A and Class 1B. Yeah, pretty much basically they kind of wrap up what they were doing. So Fat Gum transferred away. And that's nice to see of him the whole episode. Though we do see from Tokyo Express, we do see from his win, like, oh crap, Blue Flame, he's flying Dabi. And we do see a flashback of Hawks when he first got introduced to become a superhero. Apparently he was trained to be a special superhero. And of course he wanted to I'd be a good guy. I'd be someone who says he would give you a smile. Basically, a standard superhero. And they say, yeah, we're going to transfer to do that. Though he's also undercover agent, he also mentions about his backstory as Quark, where he can fly, and the fact that basically the wings are gone. He can regrow them in just a few days. That's basically how it explains it here. So we do see that he's fighting Dabi, and of course Dabi, you're not crying over your friend's death. He mentions he burned out his tear ducts years ago. Yes, seriously, that's what he basically said. And then right after the scene, we have basically a cutaway to the police station where basically they brief what exactly is happening here. So it's like last week's episode focused a lot on basically this compound. We do see briefly in the underground, we see Gigamoth, I think his name is, the one who's under Todoroki's control. He is basically waiting for Todoroki's command. Meanwhile, though, the hospital, we see that Endeavor, it was Endeavor, Crest, and a few other heroes basically trying to get the Mirakuru, get there as fast as they can. Mirakuru managed to wake the Nemus, and actually managed to get the doctor, along the way, she apparently gets her leg sliced through. Part of her heel was basically sliced off. Well, basically back of her leg is showing off her muscle, which that must be causing a lot of pain for her. And smashes the glass. So, Eraserhead, who's there, he basically is racing. He's basically keeping 3M from under control. We have Endeavor here too, and he tells President Mike and I'm trying to think X-Ray to go basically deal with it. And President Mike, good choice, because who better to smash the tube of Todoroki? Because that's basically what Mirakuru was smashing. And I think it's smashed. Of course, the doctor is wondering about, like, how they get this one. And, of course, he's not going to be dead. He's actually, he was in stasis. And, of course, you have President Mike basically transporting away, carrying him. But he's saying he feels absolutely disgusted carrying this guy because this is the guy who basically desecrated the body of his dead friend. And he's like, "Oh, are you Kategori's friend?" Oh, and of course he mentions about the about theory that apparently was explained like 70 years prior to the series, which, and according to President Mike, I think the person might be dead. No, it was actually him. He's apparently this doctor is actually 102. Yes, he's 102. And the reason why he's still alive is because of his quirk. It doesn't feel super strength. Apparently keeps him alive, despite the fact he used to kill him. And pretty much in a way that kind of mostly, and of course, several enemies, at least one couple of enemies get basically burned to a crisp thanks to Endeavor, and that's pretty much the episode. This is probably also the first episode of this whole series that's not an original episode. Excuse me, do not feature Deku. You might be thinking, that's interesting. Why isn't Deku here? What was he cut from the episode? Was he cut from the episode? Was he in the manga? Actually, no. He was actually not in these chapters. Yeah, Deku himself is completely absent. He's basically not a major character in the early portion of this. He does not play a role in this arc until like the later stages of this arc. Yep. Alright. Excuse me. Good episode, and I can't wait for next episode, which airing Sunday. Alright, next up we have new chapter manga, which is called Naked. We see Tentacruel, where he's talking to Anti-Voice inside the hospital. He's talking to the woman who showed up at the camp, who was turned away because she dare look like this. Yes, because she didn't look human enough, so they turned her away because of her appearance. And I'm like, that is stupid. And apparently she was saved by Deku at some point. Not sure when. They apparently don't really ask her about that. So then we see apparently President Mike is here. Of course, that's interesting because he's in the episode. He plays a big role, which good job on the part of the manga, basically including him in. So then we see apparently Tentacruel, along with Anti-Voice, taking on Spinner. And of course, President Mike's here too. And we see Anti-Voice's mom, who looks very similar to he does. Oh, Koji, his name is Koji. I've heard as the Anti-Voice because that's basically his ability. His ability is he talks to animals. You have Tentacruel. You have him firing basically a blast with Tentacruel there. Just take out Spinner. We see the Ayu twinkle, and of course, yeah, it's about chilling next target, and of course, we see a bunch of random stuff really Spinner. Now, I think they explained apparently there was an ability by still recommending giant size, so he haven't basically blasted a building, a hospital, mind you, yes, a hospital. Apparently he was here before, and of course, and then you see, apparently he has come across Kagoroji. Yeah, apparently Kagoroji was kept in this hospital. Yes, the guy who has ability of Warp Gate, the guy who has not been seen in like 100 chapters. Yes, I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, this is something. This is the same guy who apparently has the, well, how should I put this? He basically, well, this is the guy who's actually their dead friends. Apparently they don't really realize each other's personality. But yeah, pretty okay chapter per se. I'm going to give the chapter roughly a 9 out of 10. It's a good chapter, but I would probably say One Piece is probably the best chapter overall. Yep. But yeah, that's the episode of you. Next one's going to be One Punch Man. Okay, next video. Bye.